Sacamos las pandillas de aquí, a los drug dealers de aquí, de este hoyo. Los sacamos.
I'm an activist, I'm a painter, I'm a playwright, I'm a novelist, I'm a poet. I do it all. And I'm also a mother of two children, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I'm really tired.
No te puedo decir si por ende es del destino o es algo que quizás ya me tocaba y aquí me quedé, pero fui nombrada presidenta.
La inspiración está colgando de un hilo.
I came back to Boyle Heights because I wanted to contribute to my community and also work with teenagers.
Y esta situación me está llevando a un abismo.
I didn't start teaching until way back after my middle age. I guess 44 is middle age, and started teaching in my own area. And City Terrace is close to where close to my barrio. And I retired after 27 years, but all my life I've been an artist ever since I was a child. I wasn't like a very vociferous person or yelling out, but I was always working, always, of course through my students, through the parents of my students, I always talk about the issues that were affecting them, and I'm not a very public person, but I am in the public, and so I hopefully I've influenced some people, but people in my community know that I think they know what I stand for, and I think they respect me for it. I was always involved with arts and crafts. I guess you would call it crafts, but my mother had all these skills that I learned from her. But I was always interested in observing and sketching, and especially plants and nature, and then my neighborhood. So by the time I was in elementary school, I was the artist in the classroom, and I started doing portraits very early, drawing people. And I didn't take any formal classes except, required art classes in middle school and high school. On my own, I continued learning about art, and just that was my world actually. And so what's driven me in art and even in my teaching is my own culture. And so I think that what I did was something I really wanted to do. I wish I had started earlier, but here I am. I'm still here, and I'm actually still a teacher in many ways. I teach at schools or classes, but now it's mostly art, but through my culture. I think knowing your background and being proud of it, because during my generation, people didn't want to be Mexican because of the discrimination and the missed opportunities that were not there. And so many of my peers and the ones before me preferred to be called American, and if they didn't look Mexican, they would rather pass as not being Mexican. By the time I was in junior high school, I could see the need for people who understood people like me speaking Spanish, from immigrant families, people who are poor. Many of the teachers had no clue, and they had no compassion or sensibility to that, and so I felt that that's another push for me. And so I experienced prejudice, but in my own neighborhood it was like a warm blanket. It was it was really beautiful. I'm sorry, but I think that kids today don't realize, you know, the kinds of things that came before us. My brother suffered lots of discrimination because he was Indian. I was so proud of him. He's always been one of my heroes. And I remember one time we were at the pool, and some kid, you know, was teasing me, and I splash water in him. He called me, "Oh, you black commando, you devil something," and no one had ever called me that. I felt so devastated. I started to cry. My brother saw me. He came and said, "What's the matter?" I said, "Those kids, they call me these names." And he said, "Shut up, stop crying. Don't you know that you have to remember you're descended from kings." And I said, "Really? Yes, don't you ever cry. Don't you ever feel sorry that somebody calls you. Look at you. You're dark and you're beautiful. Look at me. I look like one of the kings." And that stayed with me forever.
La inspiración está colgada.
Nosotros nos tuvimos que mover 3 veces aquí mismo en Boyle High, cuando metieron el freeway de Santana, ¿cómo se llama? El 5. Nos traían de un lado para otro, pero antes la gente, inclusive nosotros, no protestábamos por lo que hacía el gobierno, pues nos dejábamos porque nadie podía hablar, nomás lo que el gobierno decía. Sí, con lo de nosotros que hicimos en la organización, las madres, contra la prisión, contra el incinerador, eso parece como que despertamos todo el barrio a no dejarnos que nos trajeran todo lo que se les ocurría.
Por los que sienten la inspiración colgar un hilo, por los que se sienten al borde de un abismo. Este es un llamado para todos los que fueron, son y serán, muchachos.
Primero, antes que eso, yo organicé Neighborhood Watch. Sacamos las pandillas de aquí, a los drug dealers de aquí, de este hoyo. Los sacamos. Los vecinos todos se querían mover por ese problema, pero hicimos una carta y me fui con los vecinos que si me la firmaban para ir al concejal de la ciudad, que nos pusieran policías, nos pusieran luces buenas aquí en este parque. No era parque, era un hoyo. Entonces los vecinos decían, "No, vecina, nos van a quemar la casa si hacemos eso". "No, ¿por qué no mejor nos movemos?". Y yo, no me muevo. Eso fue en el 80, cuando comencé con el Neighborhood Watch, y lo introducí aquí y en Dolores Mission y otros parques. Y gracias a Dios nos sacaron toda esa gente, nos arreglaron, nos pusieron el lugar para que hubiera deportes. Pues organizamos ese grupo y teníamos capitanes de Neighborhood Watch, de aquí alrededor de los vecinos. Cuando empezó lo de la prisión y el incinerador, pero la prisión fue primero, esta asambleísta Gloria Molina en ese tiempo, ella nos empezó a informar que Dumichan tenía el proyecto de hacernos una prisión de las más fuertes aquí en la Santa Fe, cerca de Sears. Fue en el 84. Entonces me pidieron una junta aquí con una de las 6 de Gloria Molina y que nos traían algo a informarnos, que juntara los capitanes de Neighborhood Watch, y solamente vinieron como 5 y el sacerdote de la iglesia de Santa Isabel, y nos informaron de que Dumichan nos quería poner una prisión aquí en el este de Los Ángeles, a criminales de todo el estado, de los más fuertes. Entonces el sacerdote estaba aquí oyendo Y luego yo le pregunté, ¿qué piensa usted de eso? Dijo, mira, yo en la iglesia no me puedo meter en esas cosas contra los políticos, pero puedes ir después de las misas y tú informas a la comunidad. Y eso hice. Agarré una libreta y fui y agarré firmas y arriba del altar en el pew, después de las misas les hablaba a la gente y les decía lo que iba a pasar y si nos firmaban. Entonces era un domingo. El lunes Gloria Molina tenía que llevar las firmas a Sacramento. Contamos 900 firmas en un domingo después de las misas. Y así como comenzamos. Éramos como 40 nomás el grupo de mujeres. Se acordó que hiciéramos protestas. Cada lunes hacíamos la protesta. Empezamos como 60 personas. La última protesta que teníamos, que vino gente desde San Francisco, de todas partes vino gente a apoyarnos, juntamos 4,000 personas. Y eso nos valió, eso nos ayudó, que se calmaron, ya no dijeron nada de la prisión, cuando luego resultó lo del incinerador en Berner. Pues peleamos 9 años contra la prisión para que no sea tela tan larga. Y tuvimos esa victoria. Y seguimos con lo del incinerador. Con el incinerador duramos 7 años peleando, pero no lo pusieron. Cuando ya tuvimos esas victorias, mucha gente decía, no, pues ya pasó todo eso, ya las madres no van a hacer nada. Pues dije, eso es lo que ustedes creen. Entonces fue cuando nos movilizamos nosotros, las madres de Santa Isabel, a traer programas, a ayudar a los jóvenes, a conseguirles trabajo en el verano, o les conseguíamos trabajos en diferentes partes. Nosotros no pagábamos los sueldos, los pagaba la ciudad, como limpiando calles, haciendo diferentes cosas, cortaban zacate, hierbas y todo. Entonces, ese es uno de los primeros proyectos que hicimos después. Éramos nomás como 5 las que comenzamos con la primera junta. Eran 2 de Dolores Mission, 2 de Santa Isabel y una de la iglesia de Talpa. Éramos puras madres de las parroquias. Y seguimos, esas 5 hacían juntas también y traían la gente de sus parroquias y fue como nos organizamos. Sí, teníamos poder y todavía ya no existimos, todavía mucha gente piensa que estamos aquí, ¿no? Y primero si vienen a poner algún mugrero acá, preguntan si todavía estamos activos.
¿A poco?
Sí.
La inspiración está colgando de un hilo, tanto andar por el camino correcto, tanto guardar por el porvenir.
Toda mi vida la viví en Ciudad Juárez. En Ciudad Juárez fui enfermera. Una de las primeras cosas que hicimos cuando llegamos aquí, pues ya sabes, siempre buscar trabajo para poder sobrevivir. Me recuerdo que en aquellos tiempos conocí una fábrica, era de costura. Entonces, pues sin saber coser, tuve que aprender, ¿verdad? Tuve que aprender a usar una máquina para poderle ayudar a mi esposo con los trabajos y con el dinero, ¿no? De lo que es la renta de un apartamento y lograr vivir un poco decente. En la época de la Gran Depresión fue cuando se estableció la Casa. Casi siempre cuando dices Comité de Beneficencia Mexicano y Casa del Mexicano se parece como que son 2 cosas, ¿no? Es el Comité de Beneficencia Mexicano, pero la razón social es Casa del Mexicano. Entonces este comité fue fundado en 1931, fue fundado por el cónsul Rafael de la Colina y se habla de 12 personas más que se reunían en aquellos años en el parque de Belvedere. Fue cuando se estableció la Casa, ¿verdad? Se establecieron las ayudas en la Casa para que toda nuestra gente supiera, ¿verdad?, que teníamos un centro de ayuda, ¿verdad? Así que de aquí salen las ayudas, como te dije, en caso de alguna desgracia en México, de aquí es donde se reúnen los fondos, se reúnen los clubes y se mandan las ayudas a México, también lo que es la repatriación de cadáveres a México. Tú sabes que muchos de nuestra gente, nuestros paisanos, ¿no? Por ejemplo, llegan de México muchos se quedan en el desierto o algunos sufren algún accidente y entonces se ayuda a repatriar el cadáver. En lo que fue toda la organización de las marchas, en las cuestiones culturales, en las cuestiones sociales, ¿verdad? De aquí sale todo el apoyo. Yo creo que la sensibilidad la podemos sentir día a día cuando llegas y miras a alguien que no tiene que comer, a alguien que no tiene que vestir y que de aquí pueden salir esas ayudas. Yo nunca me imaginé llegar a ser presidenta y quedarme en este lugar. Imagínate, casi la mayoría han sido hombres. Entonces hubo otra persona, mujer, igual que yo, te puedo decir que hace 22 o 23 años, que fue la señora Magaña. Entonces, después de 23 o 24 años, pues, como te dije, por endes del destino me toca a mí llevar a la presidencia. Y estoy muy orgullosa.
Órale, muchachos, ahora sí vamos a bailar, muchachos.
After I graduated from Roosevelt, I attended Pasadena City College. Then I transferred to Northern California to College of Notre Dame, and that's where I got my bachelor's and my master's degree. And then I also got my teaching credentials at Cal State LA.
Están muy bien, pero hay cosas malas que están mejor. ¡Eso!
When I graduated from Roosevelt, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just went to college, Pasadena, because my brother went, and that's when I kind of became more motivated to really do more for myself. And at that time, we didn't have a lot of role models. We didn't have a lot of Latino teachers, and there wasn't many Latinos in college at the time. So there wasn't a lot of people who came from your community and did well back then. Some of the ways that I role model is just by example. I do a lot of things here at the high school. The programs that I do, we do a lot of community service, and I participate in them. We've been going to the Dolores Mission for 5 years now. Once a month, we prepare dinner for the men at the shelter. I've been involved in a lot of the local politics, cleanups, anything that has to do with the community. I try to get involved as much as I can, and I invite the students to come with me. I'm the lead teacher for the Social Awareness, Leadership, and Education Academy. I also do the Students Run LA, which is a mentoring program and preparation program for running the LA Marathon. I'm the sponsor for the Latinas Guiding Latinas program, which is also a mentoring program for girls. The focus is academics, leadership, and community service. And I also do the tobacco prevention program and the Impact, which is a support group for students. One of my students nominated me for Hero in Education for the Los Angeles Lottery, and I was awarded a plaque for that. I was also featured as Mujer Destacada, Outstanding Woman in La Opinión. I enjoy working with teenagers because I want to be that one person that maybe encourages them or helps them see their true potential.
Y esta va para todos aquellos que ya están hartos de levantarse temprano, de dejar los sueños a un lado para trabajar, para sobrevivir, hartos de andar por el buen camino. Papá.
I remember when I was a little girl, I'd always say, I can climb that tree, or I can kick your ass. And the guys would be like, oh yeah, right, yeah. I go, I hold my glasses. And then I'd climb that tree and then kick their ass. And they'd be like, ¿ya ves?
Ya llegó la Santa Cecilia por cantar las tristezas, por bailar las alegrías, por el amor al arte, la música y la belleza.
When I was growing up in Boyle Heights, I just remember feeling like there was nowhere to go to study theater. I eventually went to Los Angeles County High School for the Arts. And I remember thinking that I wanted to leave Boyle Heights. But I always knew that I wanted to leave Boyle Heights so that I can get an education. And so I actually went to UCLA to study screenwriting so I could teach screenwriting in Boyle Heights. And so for me, like having a theater that is accessible to gente in the barrio, in the Boyle Heights, is something that makes me very proud, because I feel like I didn't have this opportunity to go to theater in my own community, like every weekend, go see a different show and go see shows that are about my life that could inspire me. I also didn't, grow up going to the galleries to go see art. To me, these were worlds that never were accessible to me. So to create spaces where people could say, oh yeah, I'm going to go to an art opening, and a theater opening, like, all in the same weekend, is like, wow, isn't that cool that young kids can do that, or young people can do that, or they can't in the community could say, wow, and it's not expensive and it's not intimidating, and it actually is inspiring work. So it's always about giving something back. I always believe that you could never take without giving something back, because that's how you restore the balance. I started writing when I was 5 years old. Since I can remember, I've been a storyteller. But professionally, I didn't get produced until I was 18. I wrote my first play when I was 17 years old, and what I did was I entered a playwriting contest, and I won. And I've entered a lot of playwriting contests, and so I kept winning. And then I was written about in the newspaper, because I was 17 years old when I wrote my first play, and I was very angry and very much, trying to make change with my writing. And so a lot of reporters wrote stories about me. And one reporter wrote a big story about me in San Francisco, and this producer at Warner Brothers read the article, and then that's how I became a member of the Writers Guild. That's how I got a movie deal. And that's how I kind of was thrown into the screenwriting business. It really was wonderful to work on Real Women Have Curves, because I had written it like 11 years before. And it was nice to finally see that it was really going to happen. I couldn't believe, because in this business, I had been hired to write many TV pilots, many movies. I mean, I've written so much material that no one has ever seen. So I thought, at last someone's going to see something that I wrote. Because you could have a career, make tons of money, and no one will ever see your work, and it's really depressing. That's how come I can't do screenwriting all the time, because it kills your spirit. It's very hard for me not to so that's why I do theater, and I do art, and I do other things, because that's more gratifying. It doesn't make money, but it makes gratifying, It was really wonderful that the movie has had the success that it has had, because the play was also very successful, and the scene, the undressing scene, worked just as powerfully as it does on stage. And that although the new story was very different from the play, that it still conveyed the power and beauty of women, and really the message was clear. And as a novelist, my novel just came out last week. And how that happened, well, when you do something, you just keep on building and building and building. And what happens is people hear about you and they read about you, and then just people contact you, and then it's kind of a chain of events that happens. It's so important for me to write about my community, because I think it's important for young people to see themselves represented. Because if they can see that there are Latino lawyers, Latinos doing other things besides getting busted for drugs and prostitution and being servants, then they can also imagine, wow, to me it's it'd be great to see a Latino mayor on television, since we do have a real one, in LA. What sucks about television and films is that the majority of it is written by men, produced by men, and a lot of it stars men, the main characters are men. And so that kind of skewed representation really warps our mind about what is real. And I just would love to see our stories, especially the stories of Latina women. And for me, what's so offensive too is that because most of the stories are written by men and produced by men, directed by men, most of the women have to be an incredibly beautiful, incredibly absurd standard of beauty that they have to adhere to, because they really are there just to be a male fantasy. There are a lot of things I haven't accomplished yet. I am still working on adapting Real Women Have Curves into a musical and taking it to Broadway. I am also an aspiring film director, so I am working on becoming a film director. And I think eventually I'd probably have to be a film producer, because the kinds of movies that I like, in my heart, I know they work. I know they're funny. I know they're great. So I just have to put my money down and go, all right, you know, if nobody else believes it, I guess I'll have to show them. And then, of course, you know, taking my theater to another level and taking, you know, expanding my theater. And then, of course, turning Boyle Heights into an arts district, these couple of blocks. And, you know, I have so many novels yet to write. I have children's books to write. I just, you know, I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to open a restaurant. I basically want to have an empire, you know.
Por las calles de la gran ciudad suenan y retumban los 6 protegidos de la Santa Cecilia. Por los que sienten la inspiración por dar un hilo, por los que se sienten al borde de un abismo. Este es un llamado para todos los que fueron, son y serán. Muchachos, atentos. La inspiración está colgando de un hilo y esta situación